I have no idea if people watch this live or not, or just after the fact. I don't know. It's an interesting thing. Somebody's jump starting a tow vehicle. Anyway, it was a mixed day. I have no reason to make this video except I just felt like making one. But you ever had one of those days where you're kind of dreading it because you've got a referral to go see a patient whom you have seen before, who was a train wreck before, who you really didn't feel like needed you, really needed some other kinds of care, and you had them on caseload for a little bit, and you were kind of happy to discharge them because you realized you weren't doing anything, and you got a new referral for the patient, and you kind of dreaded going to see that person. You ever had that? Yeah, I had one of those days. So I scheduled with this patient last night. I couldn't remember all the details of the patient. Been a while. But I knew I'd seen her before. I knew the address. I recognized the address. And I knew it to be a patient that probably didn't go anywhere my last go-around. And then when I was driving up to the house, you know, following my GPS, I started recognizing where I was. I was like, oh yeah. Yeah, then I like recall completely came back of who this patient was, and I was just dreading it. So it was one of those days, but then it became a really gratifying visit. You ever had those patients who effusively thank you for something that you really feel like, I just did my average job. I just did what I was expected to do. And that was one of these cases, that same visit. So I got there, and she was actually doing better, like mentally, pain-wise, than previously. This was a new diagnosis I was seeing her for, unrelated to what I previously saw her for. But I did her eval. She was in her right mind. She was very grateful I was there. Much different psychologically than previously. She was, you know, well put together this time. And she said, as I was getting ready to wrap up, she goes, I want you to know something. You saved my life. I said, by what? She said, because you got 911 here when you were last here. You remember that, or something to that effect? I said, yeah, I do. And what I recalled this later. I do believe when I got to the house, she was saying, somebody needs to call 911 for me. And I know, based on our psychological history from my previous PT experience with her, that she got very histrionic, very emotional, very high anxiety. But when I had assessed her, I felt like there was enough physiologically going on, because like her family was kind of like poo-pooing the need for her going 911. But I assessed her, and physiologically I could tell something was not right. So I did call 911 for her. And anyway, today she's just like, you saved my life. And she said, when I got in the ambulance, I said, that man saved my life, to the ambulance drivers. And the ambulance driver said, well, why don't we pray for him? Or the ambulance guy that was with her, I should say. Anyway, you ever had those times when you go in dreading a visit, but come away fulfilled in a way you didn't expect? So that was one of those days. And even though it was just a small thing, any clinician could have done the same thing. Her value of my intervention was just really touching, and turned out to be a wonderful visit. So it's so easy to go into a situation, especially with a returning patient with whom you had maybe not good success and you really didn't feel like you were the one that should be there, it's really important not to, I guess, prejudge that visit. Anyway, heading home. I hope that you're having a wonderful night. It's been a late day for me. I will be so happy to transition to my new role. By the way, offer's still open. Still looking for a new rehab and documentation guru. Somebody out there's got what it takes. Oh, they might not be as good looking as me and as charismatic, but that's okay. Or tell as many fibs as me. But anyway, if you know anybody that's got like strong clinical profile and has a passion for good documentation, you know, is willing to look up regulations, talk specifically about things, has a desire, you know, instantaneous channel with an instantaneous audience, free of charge. That's what I'm offering. And I hope somebody will take me up on that, because I think it's worthwhile. Anyway, I hope you have a great night. Take care, and God bless.